Hello everyone, I am Kamlesh Patil, Assistant Professor at Mechanical Engineering Department at Godavari College of Engineering, Jalgaon. I welcome you all to the course on robotics. Let us start with the course on robotics. The first topic is on Introduction to Robot and Robotics. Now, before we start learning robotics, a few questions comes to our mind. These are as follows. What is a robot? What is the robotics? Why should we study robotics? What is the motivation behind robotics? How can we give instruction to robot that you perform this particular task? What are the different types of robots we generally use? What are the possible applications of robots? Can a human being replaced by a robot? And so on. Similarly, there are many other questions. Now, here actually what I am going to do, I am just going to give the answer to the first few questions, but the last one, uh, human being replaced by a robot, that will I try to answer towards the end of this particular course. Now, let me start with the first one, that is, what is robot? So, I am just going to define the term robot. The term robot has come from Czech word robota, which means force or slave labor. This is just like a servant, and we are going to give some tasks to the robot, and it is going to perform to those tasks just like a servant. Now, the term robot was introduced in year 1921 by Karel Kapek. He was a playwright. He wrote one drama, and the name of that drama was Rosum Universal Robot RUR. And in that particular drama, he introduced the term robota, that is, the robot. But the way he described robot is as follows: the robot was look wise similar to human being, but nowadays we use a few robots which do not like robot, which do not like a human being. So this is the way actually the term robot was introduced in the year 1921, but during that time there was not even a single robot in the world. Now if we see the literature, the term robot has defined in a number of ways. For example, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, robot is a machine capable of carrying out a complex series of action automatically, especially one programmable by a computer. So this is nothing but an automatic machine. Then, according to ISO, that is International Organization for Standardization, the robot has defined the robot is an automatically controlled, reprogrammable, multifunctional manipulator, programmable in three or more axes, which can be either fixed in place or mobile for use in industrial automation application. Now, as I mentioned, that robot is nothing but an automatically controlled machine and it is reprogrammable. That means the same robot can perform a variety of tasks, and to perform the variety of tasks we will have to change its program, and it is multifunctional. That means the same robot and the same manipulator can perform the different types of machining operations. It can do some sort of pick and place type of operations and so on. Now, here actually we are using the term manipulator. By manipulator, we means it robot with a fixed base. Now, this manipulator could be either serial manipulator or parallel manipulator. So, these things I will be discussing in details after some time. Now, another very popular definition given by RIA, that is a Robot Institute of America. Now, they defined the robot as follows. It is a reprogrammable multifunctional manipulator designed to move material, parts, tools, or specialized device through variable programmed motion for the performance of variety of tasks. Now these terms I have already defined. For example, by manipulator we means robot with a fixed base. And this is nothing but a mechanical hand. That means the human hand we are going to model, design and develop in the form of an artificial hand. And this is nothing but a manipulator, and it is a reprogrammable and multifunctional. Now, in the term of reprogrammability, if we compare a robot with one NC CNC machine, now in CNC machine like computerized numerical controlled machine, we can perform a variety of tasks by changing the program. Similarly, in robot, the same robot I can use to serve a variety of purpose simply by changing the program. But here there is a basic difference between the level of programmability which can be achieved by a robot and that can be achieved by a CNC machine. Now, it is important to note that the level of reprogrammability which can be achieved by a robot is more compared to that of CNC machine, and that is why CNC machine is not a robot. I have put one note here that CNC machine is actually not a robot. Now, I am just going to define what do you mean by robotics. Now, the robotics is a science which deals with the issue related to design, development, application of robot to perform variety of tasks. The term robotics actually it was coined by Isaac Asimo in the year 1942. Isaac Asimo wrote one story. The name of this story was Run Around, and in that particular story, he used to the term robotics first. But once again, let me mention that during that time, that is in 1942, there was not a even single robot in this world. Now, here in robotics, we use the fundamental of different subjects. For example, physics, mathematics, mechanical engineering, electrical and electronics, computer science, and that is why it is bit difficult to become a true robotist, because if we want to become an expert or a true expert of robotics, we will have to know the fundamental of all these basic subject, and the robotics is actually a multidisciplinary subject. Now I am just going to define one concept which I have already mentioned a little bit. Like in robotics we try to copy 3 H's. Now these 3 H's are nothing but the hand, head and heart. That means we try to copy the hand of human being in artificial way in the form of one manipulator. That is the mechanical hand. We try to copy the head of human being, that is nothing but the intelligence. And we also try to copy the heart of human being, but not the mechanical heart, but the emotional of human being. And this is why in the future the robot will be intelligent at the same time emotional too. Now if we consider the human being, we are intelligent, we are emotional, and in robotics we try to copy everything from human. So in future we are trying to design and develop intelligent and emotional robots. So now next is, what is the motivation behind robotics? Why should we study robotics? What is the reason? Now if we see today's market, it is a dynamic and competitive. And if you want to be in competition and if you want to be in business, what will we have to do? You will have to fulfill at least 3 requirements. These 3 requirements are as follows. First, reduce production cost, increase productivity, and the quality of the product has to be good. Now you have see these 3 objectives, like reduce production costs, increase productivity and improved product quality. Now it is bit difficult to achieve all these at the same time, and some of them are actually conflicting. That means if you want to increase the productivity, then it is may not be possible that you can control the product quality at the same time, or you cannot reduce the product cost, at the same time. So for this purpose, we are going for the automation. So if we see the production types are classified in three types mainly: unit or job type production, batch type production, or mass production. So if we consider the piece production, we have got a several design, and each design we will have to manufacture small in number. Now for the batch production, we have got a few designs, and each design we produce in a few number. Now in a mass production, we got a only one design, and that particular product is to be produced in a large number. Now we can automate this particular batch production and mass production. Of course, for piece production, automation is not possible, so there is no automation for particular piece production. But for the batch production, we can go for automation, and also for the mass production, we can go for automation. For mass production, we generally go for the fixed automation, that is also called as a hard automation. And for the particular batch production, we are generally going for the flexible automation. Now, robotics is an example of this flexible automation, and this is why for batch production, particularly in manufacturing unit, we will have to go for the robots. If you want to survive in this competitive market, this is why the robotics and the robot have to become much popular in manufacturing unit. But the nowadays, not only in manufacturing units, the robots are used in different areas. For example, robots are nowadays used in space science, medical science, agriculture business, firefighting, seabed mining, and so on. So there are various applications of robots nowadays. Now, here all such things I have noted. Automation can help to fulfill the requirements of the above requirements, and the robotics is an example of flexible automation. That is why we should study robotics. Now I am just going to concentrate on a brief history of robotics. Now if you see the NC machine, that is numerically controlled machine, that was developed first in the year 1950, but the robot came after that. So the first robot which was developed in the year 1954. In year 1954, the first patent on manipulator was filed by George Devol, and he is known as the father of robot. In 1956, Joseph Engelberger started the first robotics company, and the name of that company is Unimation. So, Unimation is the first robotics company which was started in the year 1956. Then, in the year 1962, General Motor used manipulator. The name of that manipulator is Unimate, and this is the particular robot which was used in die casting application. Now next, in the year 1967, General Electric Operation made one four-legged robot, and this is the four-legged vehicle that they demonstrated, and it worked well. Then in the year 1969, SAM was built by NASA USA. SAM was the name of that particular robot which was built by NASA. Then Shreki, an intelligent robot, was actually manufactured at Stanford Research Institute SRI. In fact, Shreki is the first intelligent robot that was developed in the year 1969. In 1970, Victor Schessman demonstrated a manipulator known as a Stanford arm, and then Lumcod 1 was another robot that was sent to the moon by USSR. Then Odex 1, another robot, was built by Odetics in the year 1970. Then, in the year 1973, Richard Horn Cincinnati McLaren Corporation manufactured one robot. The name of that robot was T3, that means the tomorrow tool. Then, in the year 1975, Robert at Mellon University, USA, built one-legged robot hopping machine, and this is the first dynamically stable machine. Robot, in fact, is known as the father of multi-legged robot. In the year 1978, Unimation, the first robotic company, could develop the Puma, that is a programmable universal machine for assembly, and this is actually a manipulator whose current version is having a 6 degree of freedom, and it is a very frequently used in various industries. Then in the year 1983, Odetics, the robotics company, introduced a unique experimental six-legged device. In year 86, adaptive suspension vehicle, in short ASV, was developed by Ohio State University, USA. In 1997, NASA USA developed the intelligent robot like Pathfinder and Sojourner, and they sent them to the Mars. But that particular mission was failure, and that particular failure was due to the some sort of mismatch of specifications. Next, in the year 2000, Honda could develop one humanoid robot, Asimo robot. So, Asimo humanoid robot was developed by Honda in 2000. Then, in year 2004, the surface of the Mars was explored by Spirit and Opportunity, and this particular mission was successful. And you might knowing that what happened in the year 2012, the Curiosity, one intelligent autonomous robot, was sent to the Mars by NASA USA, and in this particular mission was successful. Then all you have might be knowing what happened in the year 2015. Sophia, that is one intelligent and little bit emotional humanoid robot, was built by Hanson Robotics, Hong Kong. And this is actually as one today the most sophisticated intelligent humanoid robot. And a few weeks ago, this particular robot was brought to the IIT Bombay, and there could she talk, she could communicate with the other people, and some of you have might be seen in paper or television. So that particular sophisticated intelligent humanoid robot is a Sophia. So these are in the sort of brief history of the robotics. Now the purpose behind giving this brief history of the robotics is just to tell you that we started a bit little late in India. The study on robotics we started around 1979-80s. So we started a little bit late. Although the first manipulator, the first patent was filed in the year 1954. So now here are some images of the historical robot. This is the Sam robot, Shaki, T3 manipulator, and Sophia. Now we see the thank you for the today's lecture, and in the next lecture we will continue the robotic system, that is manipulator and its parts like a base, arm, joint, gripper, sensors, actuators, and all those things on the robotics. So thank you for the today's lecture.